Baja, a peninsula in northwestern Mexico that separates the Pacific Ocean from the Sea of Cortez on its eastern coastline. Baja extends some 775 miles from Mexicali in its northern region, stretching all the way down to the southern tip of Cabo San Lucas. Sonora connects Baja to mainland Mexico on the east by a small strip of land crossing over the Colorado River. She has 4 main desert areas: San Felipe, Vizcaíno, Magdalena Plains, and the Central Coast Desert. Baja is an implication unto itself. A rich history follows this area, dating back some 11,000 years. Its native people, the Cochimi, were the first aboriginal inhabitants of the peninsula's central desert region. The Cochimi people were generalized as hunter-gatherers who moved frequently and were without agriculture or metallurgy skill sets. Their material culture was generally simple, but it suited their arid environment. There is a more recent history that is, and forever will be attached to this region as significant to its followers as the peninsula's native people. That history is the birthplace of off-road racing and the Mexican 1000. If you're going to examine the history of off-road racing, you have to look to its origins, where it all started. There are many people responsible for giving dirt sports as a whole its pulse. And aside from the well-agreed pioneers of Baja, Dave Eakins and Bill Robertson, the next name that comes to mind is Ed Perlman. After returning home from the war, he purchased a surplus Army Jeep. It didn't take long before Ed and some friends made their way down to Baja. Ed Perlman and a group of other Californian off-road enthusiasts formed the National Off-Road Racing Association. The race used the same principal route Dave and Bill had established 5 years earlier, beginning in Tijuana and racing from Ensenada to La Paz. "68 vehicles started the race, competing in 4 classes. For the first time ever, different types of vehicles would race against each other for the same common victory. The race attracted people from all walks of life. Some of the most memorable were the stars of the silver screen, such as James Garner. Garner was owner of American International Racers that competed in the mid to late 60s.
I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do this. My buddy Scooter Patrick and I are going to race this Bronco about 850 miles through hot, dry desert, mountains, sand, and what have you, all the way from Ensenada to La Paz in Baja, California. If you ask me if I'm a little crazy for doing this, you'd probably get one of these. Ask me if we think we can go down a road quicker than 300 other guys. Well, I'd probably say we're sure as hell going to find out.
Another leading man drawn to Baja was none other than Hollywood legend Steve McQueen, once quoted as saying, "I'm not sure whether I'm an actor who races or a racer who acts." Racing was more than just a hobby for Steve. He participated in many of the top off-road races on the West Coast, including the Baja 1000. Racing both trucks and motorcycles during his career, he preferred 2 wheels instead of 4 and naturally gravitated toward motorcycles. But it wasn't just the Hollywood stars that found their way to the desert. Off-road racing has its own brand of heroes. Bud and Dave Eakins are among the greatest that come to mind. Bud Eakins was a world-class motorcyclist. But with all Bud's honors and accomplishments throughout the years in off-road sports, he might be best known for jumping the barbed wire fence on the Swiss border in John Sturgis' The Great Escape, performing as Steve McQueen's stunt double, a moment that is forever trapped in film history. When it came to motorcycle racing, Bud's younger brother Dave was no slouch by any stretch of the imagination. Following in his older brother's footsteps, Dave Eakins held his own. Aside from a respectable off-road racing career, Dave is best recognized for being the first racer to ever set a timed run from Tijuana to La Paz in just under 40 hours. giving birth to what is now known as the Baja 1000. Another racer reluctantly talked into participation was Indy 500 racing legend Parnelli Jones.
How long ago was Parnelli here? About 11:53. An hour and 20 minutes.
It didn't take long for Jones to carve out his own place in off-road motorsports. He won the Mexican 1000 in 1971 and 72, as well as the Baja 500 in 1970 and 73.
There goes old what's-his-name. An hour and 20 minutes off the pace with a couple of spares that wouldn't hold up a kiddie car, chasing Parnelli Jones. Must be some nervy actor. A kind of lucky actor, though.
But a lot has changed since the days of Dave, Bud, McQueen, Parnelli, and Mr. James Garner.